People, let me explain something to you. I am always looking for ways to make my craft life easier without breaking the bank. And this weird little ball of goo right here is one of those things. And because I know not everyone can find the same stuff at Dollar Tree, we're gonna switch it up today just a little bit and head on over into Walmart. Some cheap little finds that I love keeping on hand that you are gonna actually wanna use too. This cleaning goo might be hiding in the car section at Walmart, but don't let that fool you. This stuff is perfect for your craft room. It grabs all those little crusty bits of dry glue, glitter, dust, and whatever else has worked its way into your craft station, especially those little spaces that are a pain to clean. The consistency is really slime-like, but surprisingly, it's not wet or tacky to the touch. It kind of molds itself into any of those little cracks or crevices and grabs all the loose debris as you press the piece into whatever you're doing. For me, this is definitely a one use for the space kind of situation, if you're picking up what I'm putting down. Once I open a jar, I just keep going until the whole section or area or whatever I'm trying to clean is actually clean, and the little gel piece is so gross I don't even want to touch it anymore. And I feel like I've gotten all my little craft bits up, and I got my $3 and change out of this one small container. And then I'll put the other little container off to the side for next month whenever I get a hair up my butt to clean everything all over again. And honestly, it just takes a few minutes. It's rather surprising how quickly all the crusty bits will stick to this gel substance and then pull right up. The ASMR is not so bad either. I'm just saying. Anyhow, I also love it because for things like this, these shelves that I got from Dollar Tree, the little squares, sometimes glue pieces get stuck. And if I'm just wiping it down with a paper towel or a baby wipe, I will still have things around those little holes. And with this, it actually pulls everything right out, and then I can come back and wipe it with a baby wipe or a wet paper towel and some cleaning spray. And quick side note, people, y'all see this little stamp piece? Notify me in future videos when I'm like, I can never find that stamp thing. I don't know where it is. It's in this container. Hook your girl up, help her remember, because I can literally never find this. And yes, the gel's absolutely disgusting by the time I'm done, but my craft station is clean. It only took me a couple of minutes. I didn't have to get a vacuum out and get debris all over the place, because sometimes it's those little pieces that get kicked back up, and it only cost me a couple bucks. A craft cleaning hack you probably already have somewhere in your house is a lint roller. I like to grab this double pack from Walmart, but they do have a ton of different options for you to choose from. They have little ones that are just over $1. Then we have the double packs, we got the triple packs, we got the jumbo joints, and these range, you know what I'm saying, from like $1 up to like 13, 14. It's basically pick what you think works best for you and in your budget. Now, people, unfortunately on this day, my craft space wasn't a total crap show. And people, I wasn't about to get on here and perpetrate and do like, and this is not, you know, poking at anyone, but you know, sometimes you go on, you watch channels and they'll buy something and spray it and clean it and they'll be like, this works so great. And there wasn't really a mess or a problem to begin with. It was already kind of clean. We're going to make a mess. Okay. We're going to do it up right with the messy moss and the glittery bits, and you know, we're gonna make a mess. And larger pieces, not just the fine small glitter pieces. I want to use the larger pieces because realistically, this is what I like the lint roller for, is that it collects the larger sections really, really well. So in the event you got a bunch of moss all over the place and you don't feel like just swiping it into a bag, or you really want to get up everything quickly and not have it all over the place, the lint roller works really well for that. Sometimes if I just pull a bag at the end or my trash can, I'm like trying to swipe, I'll miss, it'll go on the floor. It's a whole situation. I'm annoyed. So with just a couple of passes, you're able to get everything up. You didn't have to go hunt for a vacuum and plug that sucker in. Sometimes the air will kick that moss up and I'll have to go hunt that down too. Instead, it's all stuck right onto the little sheets. One of the easiest ways to clean up a craft mess is to never make the mess in the first place. But who are we kidding? That's not actually going to happen. So grab some parchment paper next time you go to start hot gluing your craft projects together. Now I'm just gonna grab a little bit of rope twine and lay this down on the parchment paper that I attached to my craft space because I wanted you to actually see the glue spaced out and how easy this is gonna pop right off for you. Two other little hacks that also help prevent the craft glue sticking are silicone mats and tapered glass cutting boards. I don't use the silicone mats very much, but I do like this hack and I do love my cutting board. When I first started crafting, I would glue my pieces down over top of a paper towel, over top of a paper plate. Didn't really know any better. And then I would end up ruining some of my project and having stuff stuck to everything. This stuff just pops right off. Here's a little money saving craft hack for you. Sometimes the exact type of item you're looking for can cost less in a different section of the same store. Microfiber cloths are a perfect example of this. Over here in the car section, they're one price, but if you skedaddle on over to their cleaning section, now it's a totally different brand, but still microfiber cloths, okay? They're going to be about 30 cents cheaper. Of course, I grabbed the 30 cents cheaper joints to share this little hack with you. I didn't necessarily have any sawdust laying around, so I had to bust out my little finger sander and a piece of wood and get us some sawdust, okay? Microfiber cloths are one of the best tips to grab up all the debris of the sawdust, and it literally takes a second. Whereas if I use a wet cloth or a paper towel, there's usually some residual laying around. You don't have that with this. And a lot of times, because these microfiber cloths are so large, I will just cut them down and reuse them until sections of the microfiber cloth get really dirty. These are also a great thing to use for staining your craft projects. If you craft as much as I do, there comes a point in time when you have to face the consequences of your own crafty actions. Dirty paintbrushes are always one of mine. My craft cave is nowhere near a sink, and I could just leave a cup of water, but I've done that before, and then I get moldy and dry out because I'll forget about that too. People, my ADHD be ADHDing. But if you struggle with this like I do, I have an amazing cleaning tip for these that I've shared multiple times on my platforms to help you get these clean in about an hour with minimal work, on a budget, and without using a ton of harsh chemicals that make your house smell funny. First, you're going to take some hot water, not cold, not warm, hot water, and some dish soap. I have Dawn around here. You can use 7th generation. I've used that too. And you're going to set your brushes upright so they're not completely soaking in the water. You don't want to ruin the ferrule, which is the little metal piece that holds all your bristles together, okay? Let them soak 5 to 10 minutes, move them around, make sure the bristles have all broken up. That's what we're using the hot water and the soap for, to make them softer so they're not stiff anymore. When you're happy with that, you can pull them on out, and then you're going to grab some hand sanitizer gel. Now, there's a ton of different opinions on this. Whenever I post this, this is what I use. You use whatever works best for you. Yes, I've used Murphy oil, soap, citrus strip, fingernail polish remover, alcohol. I have used a ton of things and they do work. I'm not saying that they don't. But what I have found is using this method saves the ferrule that holds the bristles into place and stops your brush from drying out quicker than it needs to. Some of these brushes that I'm washing, I've been washing for over 2 years. And people, I have my own craft brand, and some of these brushes are part of my TDS Creative line, and I do not want people to feel like they have to keep purchasing brushes over and over and over again, especially because we might have been lazy and didn't wash them out right away. You can use whatever hand sanitizer gel you would like. I've used Perel, I've used Dollar Tree. Just letting them sit in the gel for about 5 to 15 minutes. You'll be able to move them around and see that the gel is breaking up. And then once you're happy with that, you can take them to the sink, wash them up, dry them off, and they're ready to use over and over again. Now, I've recently started doing this with my paintbrushes, and I wish I had thought of doing this a lot sooner, especially since I usually have a horrible habit of just allowing all my brushes to completely dry out. Recently, I've been just keeping some baby wipes near me and some paper towels, and I'll take the paper towels and I'll get that paint that I used off of the brush, and then use a little bit of water and a baby wipe to wipe the excess paint and spray the excess paint off of the brush. And I will just keep going back and forth over the paper towel until the brush wipes clean completely. This usually takes just about a minute, and it works really great, especially since I don't have a sink anywhere near my craft cave. And I've never really been a fan of keeping a cup of water sitting near me for the paintbrushes. People, if your stencils are starting to look like this, don't throw them away just yet. This cleaning hack is going to help you get these suckers cleaned up like new. And it's not going to matter if it's paint or texture paste like I have on my second one here. Now, as we're getting into this, keep in mind I'm working with Mylar stencils like the ones here that I carry through my TDS Creative product line. Not all stencils are made from the same material, so make sure you know what yours are made of before you start soaking them and scrubbing them like we're about to do here. For the stencils, I fill a container with hot soapy water, and then I'll lay, if they're the larger stencils, I'll do one at a time, but if it's smaller ones, you can put them next to one another and let them soak for about 5 to 10 minutes so all the dried paint begins to loosen. This is a little scrubby thing. It reminds me of a Brillo pad. You feel what I'm saying? But it's not. They're in like in a pack of 3 from Dollar Tree. I don't remember the name of them. I just had this one laying around and I grabbed it. You could use a regular kitchen sponge. It has a rough abrasive edge, or if you want to clean your stencils right after you use them and the paint is still wet, you can just use a paintbrush and it will get that off real quick. So this will work just like this right after you paint immediately. Just use a paintbrush instead of a scrubbing tool, or if you let the stuff get crusty and dried up, this works for that. If you're near a sink, just rinse them off afterwards and then lay it on a towel off to the side to dry. Now, I've used this also for 2 different texture pastes. One is my homemade texture paste recipe that I use all the time, which is calcium carbonate, baking soda, and glue. And the other one is my favorite texture paste that I used to use years ago. That's Tim Holtz. That is the one that I like to purchase and use on products. I have never had a problem doing this method when I've left the stuff on stencils to get it off. I can't speak for all of the texture paste, but I know it works for those. And then you just rinse it off. Also put both of these on a paper towel and dry them off, and they're ready to use again. Let me know in the comments below if you have any hacks you've been using to clean your stencils. If you're interested in watching more of my Crafters Let Me Explain series, check out this video right here. And as always, people, thank y'all so much for stopping by and hanging out with your girl this evening. If you enjoyed this video, put a paint palette down in the comments. And until next time.